I think I have all my pieces now. All right, so I'm going to put a welt pocket in here. And the one I'm going to do for here is different than the one that's on the jacket, but I'm also going to do the one on the jacket. So the first thing that's different is the entire front of the jacket is interfaced. So we don't have to interface the portion the pocket's going into. But you don't ever want to put a welt pocket into just a piece of fabric with no support fabric behind it. And that's what interfacing is, support fabric. Okay, so I've got this, and if you remember, we had our slash already. So I'm going to go ahead and put the slash in here. But what I'm going to do you see how I'm going to fold this in half? I want the slash to be at the top half of this, but I want, there's 5/8 of an inch here, right where my finger is, and then 5/8 of an inch more. So the slash can't be that long. So I'm only going to cut it to there, to like an inch. The slash, let's see, the slash is probably 2 inches longer than the welt. All right? So make the slash 2 inches longer than the welt. Okay, the welt, I have interfaced the welts. I've cut 2 welts. They're rectangular. They have to be really well cut, okay? So here's the science behind it, or the math. The welt piece needs to be 4 times bigger than the welt you want at the end of the day. Okay, so let's shoot for a 1/4 inch welt, which means I'm going to have a 1/2 inch pocket. Where's my little welt pocket? All right, so if you see this, this is a 1/2 inch welt pocket. Each welt is a 1/4 inch. That means if the welt at the end is a 1/4 inch, and I want the piece to be 4 times bigger than the welt, how big is the piece? How wide? 1 inch wide. So right now, you can tell that this is too big. So the easiest way to do it, take these, fold them in half, press them down. There's one. Now, if I've just folded them in half, how wide should they be if I want a 1/4 inch welt? They should be 1/2 inch now. These are close to 1/2 inch, but they're a little big, and I need to clean them up. So now I think I'm closer to 1/2 inch. Okay? Yeah, and then when I open it, it should be 1 inch. What this does, and the way I'm going to teach you this, it makes it easier for you. This allows us to get a 1/4 inch welt to sew it down the middle. Does that make sense? I sew it down the middle, I now have a 1/4 inch welt. Okay? So, here's my, now I want to take this and center it on the slash. Let me move that so you can see the color behind it. See, there's the hole. I want to center this on the slash. Okay, so it's not quite centered. So now you can see there's about the same amount of flap on the end of the hole, on that end, as it is this end. See, there's where the hole stops. All right, so I'm going to sew this on here, down the middle, starting, this first one, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to start about 5/8 of an inch down. See, there's the beginning. I'm a little more than 5/8 of an inch down. And I'm keeping this line against the slash that I made. And I'm going to sew it to about 5/8 of an inch down on this end. What I'm doing now is setting the size of the pocket. And I'm trying to sew straight down the middle. Keep this lined up. All right, so let me explain to you again what I mean. Now you can see it on the back. Can you see the green? Oh, it's hard to see the green. The hole stops here, see? But I started about 5/8 beyond the hole. Right. And finished about 5/8 after the hole. But at the same time, on this side, I still have this much flapping. So, in stages. Here's the hole. There's my stitching, and there's the end of the welt. So big, bigger, biggest, okay, on both ends. Now, here's the challenge. I take this one, and I need to line it up against this one perfectly, okay? When I do that, I need to start this one exactly right there, because if I drew a line around this, it gives me a right angle, right? And this is how the pocket ends up square. So I need to start exactly right there. Put that down. Put the needle down. See how it looks almost like it's exactly in the same spot? That's most important there. Sewing down the middle again. Yes. Now try to make this one exactly the same size. So the challenge here was to have both of these even and both of these even. Okay? Now, I've got stitching on the wrong side. I'm going to take my pockets now, which I made the same width as the welt, all right? Same width. I'm lining it up against the welt. I'm going to pin it in place. And I take this one and line it up against the welt, going the opposite direction. Okay, so can you see? Both of these are lined up. No welt sticks out. They're exact same size as the welt. They're both lined up against the hole. Still got my hole there. And there they are meeting. So now how am I going to sew this on? Well, I can sew this on through this because I can see the stitching, but in real life, in most fabric, you can't see the stitching. So what I can see it on this side. So I get it under there flat, and I'm going to sew exactly where I just sewed before, okay? Exactly on top. Now this green thread with this black is not showing up
So
that well.
those have to be even on that side too.
Yes, and I have to sew. No, I'm sewing exactly on top of what I sewed. I'm just sewing it again.
In order to sew the pocket on.
Right.
And they also have to be even.
They have to be exactly even, and see how it's almost dead on top of it. So this one has to be the same way, dead on top of it. Make sure this is flat, nothing's folded up under there. I mean, if you are not on top of what you sewed, you just made a little mess. Okay, it doesn't work. All right, so let me show you what you should have on this side. Now see how that slid a little bit? You really don't want to let that happen. That slid, I only have this much there, but it's okay. I'm going to keep it. All right, so you should have two parallel lines that start and stop almost exactly in the same spot, okay? And they should be a 1/4 inch from the edge of the hole, which creates a 1/2 inch hole. It's a little bit bigger, but... Right, no, it's not cut diagonal, it slid, it moved. See that lump? It moved. That's okay though. All right, so now the hole should stop before the end. See? See how it stops before the end? Now I'm going to do what's called the Y cut. I take my scissors. Now I want you to see this. I'm putting the tip of my scissor right at the last stitch. See that? And I'm going to use the ends of my scissors to snip that right dead to the last stitch. See? But I didn't cut the stitch. You see how I'm right at it? This is where precision matters. Do the same on this side. Right to it, didn't cut it. Over here. So what you get to do is line up the point and then just pull the scissor together. You got to have some good scissors to do it. Now, before anything starts raveling and going crazy, I need to go up here to the ironing board. The first thing I need to do is press the pocket down. Okay? Put it in, so I just push this through, grab this end,
That little white cut thing you just did?
yes, push that through, and now stick the pocket in. Now I turn this down and press it, and see how I have a good rectangle around the end of the welt.
I wonder how they did that.
Yep, they're not easy. But I've developed this way that makes it easier. It's a little easier.
Right, okay.
All right, so now this one, here's the bottom of the pocket. I press this up. And I push it in. Now see these ends? Push it in like that. Take this one, push it in. The little Y cut thing needs to be pulled back like that. Now, I gotta get in here and spread this open and get it flat and square, see? Now, I pull this back. These two, see how they're overlapping? They need to align, not like this, because let me show you what happens. When you get that, that's what you get on the outside of your pocket. And sometimes it gets worse, it gets like that. Line them up side by side. Take this Y, point it this way. Bring it down here, Casey. Now I get in here and I sew exactly in that little crease.
You taught us that thing there before. What is that called? I forgot too.
But
How you sew in between a crease or something like that.
it's stitch in the ditch, but there's no real ditch there. That's a crease.
Oh, okay. Stitch in the ditch.
It's similar. But today everybody's been using that term for everything. And it's not everything.
Like, we stitching in a ditch? No. No, you're not.
It's a similar action though. Okay, so you see how now that's sewn down. I got to get this side. Get these two lined up, not overlapped, beside each other. Pull this back, pull the Y forward, and sew in the ditch of the Y because of the way I pressed it. Yeah, something stopped cooperating for just a second. All right, so now, there it is. It's square. I can stick my hand in it.
I've seen that big time on people's pants.
Oh, they're everywhere. So now I need to sew the pocket. And I can do this over here on the side. It doesn't have to be. Now, one should end up a little longer than the other if I cut them the same. Go down to here.
Because one's up and one's
Right, one's higher than the other. So now when I do this, I got to make sure this is flat so it doesn't buckle my pocket. There. Now I need to get this back this way, straighten this out, get it flat. Okay? That is a welt pocket.